Hello and welcome to Paper Plate Julie K. Thanks so much for stopping by and joining me today. And today I am sharing a journal that I created as a guest design team project for Ephemera's Vintage Garden. And Ephemera's Vintage Garden is owned by Debbie Ann, and she sells digital kits and digital printables on her shop. She does have a .com store and also sells on Etsy. I will put both of those links below in the description box so that you can easily find her. She also runs a junk journal site on the web that talks a lot about junk journals and a lot of basics, so I will also link that. So if you are new to junk journals and want to learn more, it's a great resource. I will also link Debbie Ann's channel. She has a YouTube channel, and then she also has a Facebook group, so I will link those all below in the description box so you can find her. And for this guest design team project, I am working with Lady Eleanor's journal kit. It is a beautiful kit. And before I open up and get into the book, the journal that I created, I wanted to kind of share with you a little bit more about this journal kit. I know that Debbie Ann did create it with a lot of elements that she found in her own backyard. She did a lot of geodying where you take leaves and petals and you press them in between paper and you boil it and you get all sorts of really cool designs. And so after she did that, she did scan them in and incorporate them into the layouts of this journal. And then also, I wanted to read real quick her little description of Lady Eleanor's journal, just because I did kind of take that to heart, and I really loved the little story that she had with it, so I used it for inspiration when I was working on this journal. And so I did a lot of thinking about who Lady Eleanor was and what she liked and what she might stick into her journal. And so Debbie Ann's description is family, friends, and autumn. Those are Eleanor's favorite things, and she keeps them close to her heart in a journal. Pressed between the pages among the photos of her loved ones, you will find leaves and petals which she collects from the garden and forest nearby. And so again, I use that for inspiration for my journal. And so I did create on the side, I did create a little tassel, and I have it kind of unhooked right now just to make it easier for the video, but I did create the tassel with fibers from my stash along with a few ribbons, and some of the fibers that actually came from my mom that she found, and they actually already had beads on them, and so I just left them as is. And then also I took apart some like wine charms that had some leaves on them, and so I added those down at the bottom on some of the different fibers just to kind of go along with the theme. And so I did just kind of hang them on a ring here, and then I just have a little safety pin that attaches to my eyelet up here. I did add a little leaf here on the spine, and I do have a couple of these same leaves inside the journal. And then for my cover, I decided to go ahead with this little stamped, it's actually a rubber stamp. And so I stamped it on this little suede paper, and then I hand stitched over it in the gold thread, and I just love how that turned out. And then I added just a little bit of gold trim just to highlight it a little bit. And then my background paper is mulberry paper. And I just did a simple closure. It's just eyelets, and then I just tied on some ribbon from my stash for my closure. This is a 2-signature journal. I did a lot of stamping and stenciling throughout, and then besides using the Lady Eleanor's journal kit, I also used from Debbie Ann. She had a June miscellany kit that I had, and so this just had like some postcard and vintage looking ephemera, so I used some of that. And then also a Christmas miscellany printable that I used from Debbie Ann's store. I also use that in this journal. And then what was also fun for me for this journal was I did have actually some vintage postcards and a couple ephemera pieces that I've been holding on to for the perfect journal. And when I started working on this kit, I could totally see those items having belonged to Lady Eleanor, so I went ahead and added them to this journal. So it was fun for me to be able to use those things for my stash. Inside the cover, I do have a pocket on the inside covers, the front and the back. I just made a little journaling spot here just to journal on, just from some scrap paper. And then usually at the end when I'm making a journal, you can see I use this little piece of paper here and some of it on the cover. Then I'll try and make little journal cards out of it so I don't have anything left. So I use up all my paper scraps. So I did make a couple journaling cards. And a long time ago I stamped all these images of the leaf and colored them and never did anything with them. So I finally was able to use them in a journal or a project. So I was happy for that. Again, I did some stamping and some stenciling kind of throughout the journal. Debbie Ann does have a lot of really nice line pages, and then one of the things that I did like about her line pages that she had is that they actually matched up with her other pages, and so they look very seamless. Even though they're two separate sheets of paper, they look like they go together. So I love that part of her digital design. So very well thought out, Debbie Ann. Here's a little journaling spot. And then also throughout the journal, and I do have a tutorial which I'll link below, I did what I call a hidden tuck spot. And so what I ran into when I started working on this journal is I loved her layouts, and I didn't want to cut them up and piece them into different parts of the journal, and I wanted to leave them as is, but I did want to give myself some more spots to journal on. So I did cut out different parts and make little hidden tuck spots. And so like here, then this would tuck behind here, and it still looks like part of the actual journal. And so there is actually another hidden one up here. So this little piece comes out up here too. And then you can journal on the back side. But it kind of looks seamless and like it's part of the actual page. And then down here, I just did a little bit of layering right there. Then throughout the journal, I did throw in some little leaves, just because I imagined Lady Eleanor doing that. Here's one of those geodyed papers that Debbie Ann scanned in, so you'll kind of see those throughout the journal on different elements of her kit. And so this is a flip, so you can flip it up, and then I do have, this was a little piece from one of her kits that's a little birthday card, and so I made it into a tuck spot, and I tucked a little postcard in their journaling spot, just to give myself some more journaling space. So again, another one of those hidden tuck spots. So there's a little photograph behind this one right there, and then here's just a little tag up behind that one. I did fold up. I had some old scrapbooking paper that looked like it could have been geodyed, and I've never known what to do with it, so I did fold it up and put it in here, make little pockets, kind of pocket pages. And so here's just some more little ephemera to journal on. And this is a little tag that pulls out of there to journal on. And then one of the things I love doing in my journals is actually just layering small amounts of ephemera, and then sometimes I'll punch out little things and making little tuck spots. So I just made a little tuck spot with layering some pieces of ephemera. Another little journaling card. The kit does include 2 little envelopes, and so here is one of them. And so I just kind of made it on this side, it's a tuck spot, and then here you can flip it open. And then on the inside, I just made a little journaling spot to journal on. I did line them with some scrapbooking paper or leftover scraps I had. All of my papers, if they aren't the digital parts of the kit that I printed off, these papers were all walnut stained. And when I was cleaning my craft room, I found all these walnut stained crystals, and you just add them to water like you do the instant coffee, and then they dye the paper, and it actually is a little bit darker than the coffee staining. Here's another one of those little hidden tuck spots. Also throughout the journal, I did on some of the leaves, I did add Wink Estella and then some glossy accents over them. It just was kind of a nice little effect. Another leaf. Here's one of my first vintage or ephemera pieces, is this piece right here, and I found this at the thrift store. It just came in like a whole pile of other miscellaneous stuff. And it's actually like a little cooking notes thing that a coffee company put out. So I stuck that in there. And this is just some scrapbooking ephemera, scrapbooking paper ephemera that I just backed with some scrap coffee dyed paper. And then this little glassine pocket right here I think is really cute. My friend Sherry made that for me a while ago, and she put a little journaling card in it, so that's hers. And then I made a little napkin tag to stick in there, just kind of some fall colors. And then besides the items that my friend Sherry gave me, I also have some items in the journal that I forgot to mention. From Lynn, who is Art Bee here on YouTube. Also my friend Shonda, who is Slim Cards, gave me some things, or dies that I used in this book. And there was someone else, and I can't remember who it is. But anyways, thanks guys. I'm not going to point out everything, I don't think. But up at the top here, this was an envelope that I added in, that I cut the top out so I could have a little pocket. And so that does go in here, and here is one of those vintage photos or postcards that I found. So I added that up there. I do own a couple of rubber stamps that look like postcards, so I will often just stamp them on scrap paper and then use the back sides for journaling cards. There's the middle of the first signature, and then I just added some little leaves to my strings. And then also, if you can kind of see on the sides too, I added little tabs, but I used leaves as my tabs. I thought that was kind of fun. Another little rubber stamp that I have that looks like a postcard. Then some more layering with ephemera down here. Another photograph. I think this one's just a Tim Holtz one. Yeah, that one's just... this one also is the envelope, and so I do have a pocket up here. Another one of my little vintage postcards that I found. Again, I just imagine these people being friends or family of Lady Eleanor, and she just was sticking them in her journal. Another vintage postcard, and then I also just created some of my own little journaling cards with scrapbooking paper and miscellaneous pieces. Another little layering of ephemera to make a tuck spot there. Another old photograph that I found. Another one of my hidden tuck spots in the journal. I mean, if you take that out, you can't even barely tell that there's a tuck spot there. Some more stamping and stenciling. Another little tuck spot that I made. And then this is just a little piece of scrap that I just made into a little journaling spot. This was just a little glassine pocket that I got from somewhere. I don't remember where. A little tuck spot that I made up here from a die. And then this was part of the kit. Is a really nice little poem, and I originally was going to use this on the cover until I remembered I had that rubber stamp to make, to do some hand stitching to make it look like a leaf. So then I just ended up using it as, layering it up on some scrap paper as a little journaling spot. Again, there is another little hidden tuck spot. I did do the glossy accents and Winkastella on that leaf there. And then here's my little tuck spot up here. So I just have a little piece that you can journal on. Another hidden tuck spot with a little piece of ephemera behind it. Then we're on to the second signature. Another leaf thrown in, some layering. And then again, this has some hidden tuck spots, so that's what it looks like without my little ephemera in there. And so I have a little tuck spot right here, and then one up here too. I created a little belly band right there, and then I layered up some ephemera down there. Different pieces from the different kits. Another one of those hidden tuck spots. And again, I just used a rubber stamp to create that postcard. Then there's also, I'm even forgetting where I had all my little hidden tuck spots. So there is also a little hidden tuck spot right there too, that I stuck some ephemera in there. They're so well hidden, I can't even remember where they all are. And then this, just a little tag, a little scrapbooking tag. I could just kind of imagine that Lady Eleanor probably had some little flower packets that she'd save from year to year. And then this little piece right here is a little sentiment about there is pleasure in the pathless woods. And when I saw that, it just kind of reminded me again of Lady Eleanor and how she liked collecting things from the garden and the forest. And this actually little sentiment comes from a tea bag. And so I save them. If I like the little sentiments that they have, I save them and then I use them in my journals and on different paper crafting stuff. And this is part of the kit, part of that geodying. Another vintage postcard. Another hidden tuck spot with a little journaling card in it. Then I also did some layering on some of the pages. Another one of those tea bags, and this one talks about the creation of 1,000 forests is in one acorn. Another little tuck spot with the leaves I just kind of threw in. And again, that's just a rubber stamp that I made a postcard out of. Little tuck spot. Another little spot to journal on. Another one of the Tim Holtz little postcard things, or pictures. And then up top there is another spot to journal on. This is just scrapbooking paper that I made into a journaling card. I'll put that back in later. That's the middle of the second signature, and again I just put some leaves over the strings. Here's another vintage photo, and it was an old postcard. Little journaling spot, some more layering with some of the ephemera. Another little tag that I made out of a napkin, and then just a little inventory tag from my stash. Then here was the second envelope that's part of the kit. And again, I just kind of did the same thing with a little journaling spot inside. This was part of the kit, and I'm just going to use it as a journaling spot behind it. And then here's one of my little vintage postcards. Okay, and here's again another hidden tuck spot on this page, right up here. This pulls out, and then you can journal on the back side of that. Little tuck spot up there with some ephemera. Inside again, another one of the vintage postcards that I've been saving. Another little tuck spot. This was made with a napkin from by my friend Sherry, and so there's a pocket here and then there's a pocket behind there. And so I just stuck some of the ephemera in there. Then one piece can go in there. And then here we're getting close to the end again, another little hidden tuck spot there. And then I have a hidden tuck spot up here on this top one too. And so I have this little piece of ephemera and then this little ticket sitting up there too. So I had a lot of fun with this journal and creating all those little hidden tuck spots. It was kind of fun. And then this page, and again I have a little hidden tuck spot. So this one I can tuck something up in here and then also something here, but I just chose to do kind of both of them there. So that's the last page, and again, I just use a scrap to create a journaling card, and then another little vintage postcard. And that is my completed journal. So thanks so much, guys, for watching, and thank you, Debbie Ann, for letting me work with one of your fabulous kits. Again, I really love this kit, and I love the story that you had with it, and I especially love that you personally designed some of the papers in here using elements from your own backyard. So that was kind of fun. And again, for everybody else, if you want to go check out, I do have links for all the stuff that I mentioned earlier down below in the description box. And I believe this month, Debbie Ann still has her Lady Eleanor's journal kit marked down a little bit. Every month or every couple months, she does have one of her journal kits on sale. And I believe this Lady Eleanor's journal kit is still on sale this month. So if you want to get it, now would be the time to do that. So thanks, everybody, again for watching. Have a fabulous day and take care.